two end pieces on this vent pipe. They're loose and I want them level so I can get some approximation of where the hole needs to go through the roof here. I'll maneuver them around until I'm happy with them, and then I take a pencil and I just sort of traced around the outside edge here onto the underside there of the OSB. I did make a few more adjustments, so I'll end up with probably a couple circles there that were kind of confusing. Here I'm marking the pipe, so I'll be able to glue it and put it back in the same position that it was in, where it's level. And I'll take it loose here. I have two sections, and go ahead and glue this one section in, and then I'll leave this end section here, which I'm using a grease pencil with white grease. Works real well for marking and getting it back to the position I want it. Okay, now I can take it loose. Here I'm drawing diagonals on one of the circles that I'm happy with, and finding the center of the diagonal, and then I'll draw a 90 degree line from each diagonal center, which will give me approximation of the center of the circle. Like I said, I only need a close approximation of this because my saw is going to be a little bit larger than the diameter of the ABS pipe that I'm using. I believe the saw here was 5" and my ABS pipe is 3 something. It might get a little noisy with this thing. I found myself getting covered in fine sawdust, so I had to take a short little break in between on this and come back to it. Okay, here we go again. This time I'm able to finish the cut. Oh yes, there's daylight. There's the grace underlayment, and couldn't pull it off of there because it was attached to it with a plastic washer and a staple. I'm surprised how well those things held. Up on the roof now, I decided to cut the opening with tin snips. Was going to use a jigsaw with a metal blade, cut it off nice and smooth, and I thought, I'm just going through a lot of extra work when I can just cut little pie-shaped pieces out of this and just bend them down. It's the same thing, and I don't have to drag the extension cord up or nothing. Here I'm just bending them down with the handle of my knife. Worked pretty well like that. Quite pleased with the way the hole came out. Now I'm checking, cut a section of ABS pipe, and I'm checking for the fit. I wanted to make sure that it stuck about 8 inches above the roof, and it did. Okay, going back down, I'm going to go ahead and glue that last section in with some nice ABS glue, and get it all over you just by looking at it. So I try and be careful and not knock it off the ladder. Of course, this is not a full can, so I'm not too worried about it. Alrighty. Doing a good job there. Oh, that board looked like it needed some, so I put some on the board as well. And then on the other end of the pipe. Okay, get it up there in place and turn it, line it up with my marks from the grease pencil, and should be good to go. Back up on the roof, I'm going to check the vent pipe again for level and see how it's coming out in the hole and all. And I still have a little adjusting room there, so it's looking really good. And I believe it's time to go ahead and put some ABS glue on this and get it in there. I wish I'd have put it on the other end. This was the finished end, and I was wanting it to point up, but then again I thought about it, and might have been a little slippery for birds to stand on, so I'm leveling it up here, and it's looking good. I'm giving it time to set up while I go down and mark the neoprene boot with a marker at the I believe it's 3.5 to 4.5 mark. They're marked on the boot itself where to cut, and so I did that, and then I decided to check the fit with a piece of ABS, and it fit really nice. And nice and tight, nice tight fit. And after I got it on there, I thought, oh my God, now I got to get it off, and I didn't really want to bend this metal ring. So I thought maybe I wasn't supposed to do that, but it turned out I could just turn it inside out and get it off. It come out really well. I was happy with it overall. I cut the neoprene with a pair of scissors. It was very easy to cut. Okay, just about there. There we go. Now I just turn it inside out, and I got my boot back. Okay, I'm using my ladder extensions on the end of the ladder to go up on the roof, and accessing the roof and getting off the roof is so much easier than having to bend over and throw your leg around the side of a ladder. Especially these metal roofs, they're very slippery, and those ladder extensions I have, they're just really nice. I'll leave a link in the description of where I got those, and if you ever get a pair, you'll thank yourself every time you get on a roof for using those. Okay, I'm putting some caulking around where I figure the silicone boot at the top will hit, and it'll pull that caulking down underneath on the inside and make a nice bead. And then I'm going to go ahead and put some caulking around, of course, the base here. I'm using a polymer type of thing. It's not really a silicone. It's what I use to put the roof on with. It dries really nice, flexible, and I'm real happy with that stuff too. It's called Nova Flex, but I'm sure there's other brands. I have some Lexol too that I was going to use, but I decided I had some of this, so I go ahead and use this. And sliding the boot on over. It's working really nice now, going down and hit the caulking, made it even easier. Then I'll just push it onto the roof itself. Getting it nice and flat now. Okay, time to put some screws in. What I did with the screws is I alternate pattern from one side to the other, and then about like tightening lug nuts on a vehicle. And I just keep putting screws in until I filled up all the spaces. This part went very well and smooth also. The caulking is not squeezing out underneath the boot, but it's difficult to see because I don't have a zoom on this camera here. Okay, I'll put a little caulking around the edges, a little more caulking actually. I'm being real liberal with it now, and then some around the top of the boot. I really don't think it needed any more caulking, but I was being generous today, so I decided to put some more on anyway. And I didn't want to make it look nice and smooth and wet my finger. I'll just use a piece of a shim, and it'll be just fine. It'll look fine like that. Well, the wind is coming up. It's supposed to gust 39, so I'm better get off the roof. And I'm real happy with it, so I gave myself a thumbs up. Yeah. And we'll get down to the lower side and look underneath and see how it comes out down there. And I'll quit looking at it. Okay, go down the ladder. Quit looking. Go down the ladder. Okay, here we go. Using my cob light, I checked out the installation from underneath. I see no problems. It looks really good. And can't wait till the next rainstorm just to check the work. And so I think the installation came out real well. And I forgot to say, guess what? This is Steve AZ711 saying bye for now. Yeah, I missed the hand. Bye.